I wanted to discuss something because I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit confused. If I had planned to actually put something on, like dress in a kind of weird kind of way, so that YouTube would have an official like messed up thumbnail to put on my live, because I don't even know. Anyway, I don't know how they decide what they use as a thumbnail, but they haven't been very kind to me, I can tell you that. Anyway, I wanted to discuss the dating scene. If people, the intentions of people dating is to eventually get married. I'm assuming that's what the purpose of it is. But I'm not too sure anymore. I'm not too sure anymore what people's purpose of people's dating is. I'm thinking that maybe it's just a hookup. Why I say this? Because this we're 2026, 2025, 26. Here we are. And one of the most common terms people use is narcissist or narcissism. Now, narcissism, the bulk of narcissism is that, like the black widow spider, there's people out there who just have nothing else to do with their time. And for whatever reason, they spend their whole life or their life while they're living and doing their regular stuff, trying to manipulate the people in their life that do not want to play, that did not ask to play games. Okay, so that's a narcissist, right? That there's a lot of people out there that are like that. There's a lot of people because it just seems to be the norm. Everyone seems to believe that they could trust people at face value. You're gonna meet somebody and what they're bringing to the table is what it is. But no, this is 2026. Let's get real. Let's discuss this because there is something called Tinder. I've never seen it. I've only come across videos about people getting caught cheating on that platform. That's all I know. Something to do with swipe right, swipe left. I don't know what the heck it is. But the point is this. My daughters are all in a position right now to be dating. Like they are in a position to look for a partner or to be courted by somebody. All of them are at the age that it's okay with me. My youngest is 20. I don't know how they meet people. I know at least two of them use apps. That really scares me for that reason I just discussed about narcissists. But the point is this. I'm at the age right now where I wish I did a lot of things differently. You don't know what you're gonna get when you meet somebody. You don't know what they bring to the table. You know what kind of damage, especially at my stage in life. People have had a lot of years to go through things, to be broken, to heal, or to choose not to heal. But there's a lot of people that are particularly my age or any age that have gone through some stuff. There's not many people that have been unscathed that have not gone through some kind of heartbreak, some kind of like situation. There's some people who decide, you know what, I'm going to heal from that. I'm going to move on. Some people are very, in spite of what they've gone through, they're very grounded. They're very mature. They decide, you know what, it's not personal. It's not meant to be, and they move on. Then there's people who decide they want to take out their frustrations on the universe. That somebody hurt them in their life and they're going to destroy everybody in their path. Now, how are you going to know who is who if you go on Tinder, you go on whatever platform you go on, or someone introduces you to somebody and you're going to believe their word for what it is, and you're going to look at the outside of them. You're going to say, "Oh, this guy's handsome. This girl's hot." You know what I'm saying? And I want to get to know her based on what she looks like. Yeah, girl, I so feel sorry for them too. This is why. Okay, so generally speaking, there are people out there who make it bad for everybody else. They go out there, and I want to say particularly women, because guys, as long as I can remember, even my dad, um, will explore different women. It's not okay. God did not intend it that way. God intends us to find a partner. Now, for whatever reason, at some point people decided to find a career is more important than to find a partner. So people, in spite of the fact their bodies were yearning for companionship or to connect with somebody, people were always pushed towards just exploring people building or making soul ties all over the place and pursuing a career. Hi. But at some point, oh wow. At some point, um, we have to just realize that that's not how God intended us to be. God intended us to be in relationships. That's how He designed us. He designed Adam and Eve for a reason. Said it's not good for man to be alone. And hey, I'm glad you caught it. I'm hot. The lights are getting me, boy. Hold on. Woo, boy. Every time I do this, the lights are hot. So my focus. I'm talking about how people have decided. I don't think people even know what the heck they're doing, to be honest, in regards to dating. I don't think so, because people are so dangerous right now. People are manipulative. They're greedy. They're covetous. They want what they don't deserve. There's some people out there that are deserving of a good relationship because they've healed, because everyone's going to go through something. But there's people out there that are broken people that are out to just destroy everything and everyone in their path. And how are you to know who is who if you go on these apps, you see what someone looks like aesthetically, and you decide, oh, I want to date that person based on what they look like and whatever they claim to be on their bio, whatever that I'm assuming that's what it is. I always said to my girls, just date. I always said to them, what my older ones anyway, that you should just like get to know people, get to know what you like and what you don't like, get to know, what things you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate. Practice setting boundaries. Practice telling people no. Practice telling people yes. Practice anticipating that at some point this relationship might not go the full way, and be okay with it. People go on these apps and they find someone they like and come into an agreement way too early, but this is the person they're going to date, not knowing what they bring to the table. Now, there's some cultures that actually their marriages are arranged. The parents decide, okay, my kid's going to marry your kid and they're going to have a family. And they could work that way. Um, but generally speaking, most people have to go out there and find a partner, right? Either way, you have to get to know the person that you're with. But there's a lot of people out there that are in relationships that are based on um superficial things that are, and then you wonder why the divorce rate's so high, because relationships are based on something so superficial. I always think about who is it, the guy, I don't remember what his real name is, but the guy, one of the guys who played Superman. I think he had a horse. He was riding a horse and he got thrown off the horse and he became disabled. And his wife didn't leave him. His wife stayed with him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, um, I don't know what the religion. I'm not going to assume what their agreement they have might have now, because I mean he can speak. I mean, God knows what the arrangement is. Maybe she has relations outside of the relationship. Yes, Christopher Reed. There's another couple too. He didn't get in an accident, but he became a little bit something took over his body, like his nervous system. He's a Canadian actor. He's short. I don't know if it's Different Strokes. No, it's not Different Strokes. One of these shows. Anyway, the point is that he gradually started to have difficulty speaking clearly. At some point, a lot of women used to love him, and his wife stayed with him. Now, this is the thing though. These are wives staying with men. Now, I don't know if it was switched, if the man would stay with the woman. I don't know. Men and women are different. Yes, you're awesome. Michael J. Fox is what it is. You you're good. I'm terrible with names. I'm great with faces, but I'm awful with names. So Michael J. Fox and Christopher Reed are both, well, you and I should play charades together. We'd be good partners. We could win some money. um I can't think of any examples where the guy was with a wife and something happened to her and he stayed with her. Parkinson. Who's that? I should have thinking now. I probably know the by. Is this a show? Parkinson's. Oh, Parkinson's. That's what he has. Yes, 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 yes. That's what he has. He's acting. He's still acting though now. He's still act. I saw him do some. He worked out in that life. What's that mean? Anyway, the point is that I'm concerned about this generation. I'm concerned about myself because my mentality is based on what a very old school way of thinking. When I was growing up, Happy Days. I don't know if anyone remembers Happy Days or the the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch or what is it? The Partridge Family, where when someone was dating someone, they would bring the person home to meet their parents, and the parents would kind of like know what's going on or whatever else. Even the Cosby Show, those kind of things. Like, there's no vetting process now. My girls, they go on these apps. Yeah, I see that. Let me see. Hold on. Um, there we go. Because I don't know why that has to always be an issue when I do. Like, I don't get it. Anyway, so my concern is this: if we live by what the word says, and I hate to be religious because I think that's the turnoff, that people think that God is boring, God is unfair. He doesn't want us to have fun, and that's not what it is. The word has guidelines for us because He knows us. The Lord knows us. I don't really practice Easter. I don't celebrate it because it's pagan. So everyone can do what they want, but I choose to. I've learned to not expect anything from Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all the other Valentine's, all those practices. I don't really partake in them. I don't see the value in them. I think that people should love their person or their family all year round. I think they capitalize on this. Flowers are so much more expensive during like special days, Mother's Day, Father's Day, um, and during Valentine's. I think it's just people are buying into like commercialism, and I don't do it. So I don't knock people. People say Happy Easter to me. I say it back, and that's it. There's not much that happens. Mind you, though, I'm a hermit. Um, I'm a hermit, so I really am a loner. There's not many people I don't have friends, which I'm good with. And He was risen, but in the Bible, what did our Heavenly Father say to do? Anyway, this is off topic. Let me just finish talking about what I was going to talk about. Anyway, um, if you are in a situation where you're dating different people, then you get a chance to kind of know, at least compare. Let's just say I had like, right, like I love this stuff. This is kombucha. I love this stuff. It's fermented carbonated drink. But there's other kinds of carbonated drinks, and I've tried them all. A lot of them. The ones I am familiar with, I've tried them. Whole Foods sells them. And I like this one because I've had a chance to try several others. Now, I'm not saying to be intimate with people because then you're creating soul ties, but I do say that it's important for people to get to know each other. Now, on that note, as I think of that, um, women and men have to, if they're going to think that way, they have to consider women shouldn't be expecting men to spend like hundreds of dollars on an initial date or initial dates because um this is there might be people who are scammers, and I say narcissism is a big deal right now. There are people who will capitalize on this. They'll just go around dating people just to get free meals all over the place, to get a guy to buy them stuff. And then there's guys who will throw money around and expect if they spend a lot of money on a woman that he'll be able to sleep with her or whatever else. This is a very crazy time to be alive because if you do that, whenever you are intimate with somebody, you create a soul tie with them. And the Lord just led me to understand this and learn this. Once you create a soul tie with someone, it's almost like you take a part of yourself and give it to them, and they take a part of their self and give it to you. And so that means you kind of intertwined yourself with someone else. You're not completely you. You are you are you plus somebody else, if that makes sense. So and soul ties are not easy to break. They're very difficult to break. It's so yeah. A good first date is at the bookstore or a cafe, preferably in the daytime. Going to, like, I would say, these are the ideas that I've had that I've been okay with. Like, bookstore is great. Like, there's a place that we have here. I don't know if they have it in the States. It's called Chapters. It's usually a part of a mall, so you can grab a bite to eat if you want to. There's also going to parks. We have a really nice park out here that's a part of like a older green preserved area. It backs onto that, and a school that's nearby here has made it very scenic and beautiful. People take their wedding pictures there, and it's beautiful. So you're getting something from it. You're discovering some parts of your community, but you're not spending the money, but you're having an experience, right? There's lots of things you could do for free. If you have a waterfront in your area, like we have a waterfront that's not too far that you could go to, and you could walk and talk and whatever else. If you're going farther than close to where you live, you're gonna be spending money because gas is ridiculously priced. You're gonna have to spend money, some kind of money. But the idea of saying, I've seen so many different videos lately. I don't know why God's leading me to see these, but because I would cringe to think that a guy's taking me out and I'm going to order like $500 worth of food because I'm bringing food home to my kids. I'm bringing leftovers home to my the stuff that I've seen lately. I'm just like, what? I had to address this. What is happening? What the heck? And where's these guys getting money to? Well, this is the thing I'm seeing now. Guys have had the nerve to say, "Yo, I'm not paying for this. I'm not paying for you to eat like 5 meals that would cover that would feed how many people." And I believe these women are doing it because this is something that happens in public. So they're definitely being narcissistic. You're gonna expect a man to take you out. He's expecting to get to know you. You're expecting to get to know him, and you're going to put him in a position where he's going to have to either pay for whatever you're eating and maybe more extend himself more than he is tended to, or you're expecting him to tell you no and you to have a fit in a public setting. The stuff I've been seeing lately, I can't. Our world is going so far south quickly. I just could not believe it. It's a girl. If a girl does not make deep inroads in his pocket, she does not feel obligated. If a girl does not make deep inroads in his pocket, she does not feel obligated. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I think if you're just getting to know somebody, okay. So this is, but grab a credit card. Grab a credit, yeah. Well, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them out there. A lot of them are out. There's a lot. I was gonna come on here with a big lash. I was gonna put makeup on today. Then I thought, Deb, don't do it because this is you're always speaking against it. And even for just the to prove a point, I was gonna put lashes on. I was gonna put like a little beauty mark on here, put some lipstick on, maybe change my hair some kind of way. Then I thought I'm gonna be tired at the end of the day. I'm gonna have to take all that stuff off. And I said, heck no. But the point of me doing that was gonna be that I wanted to just exemplify, just show what it is that women and men do to get what we want ultimately from another person. And if you're looking for a marriage or a long-term commitment, you're not. People are not going to come forthright with what their intentions are right away. I think it's important to get to know people first. I really do. My daughter was talking about, guys want to be exclusive. Like, for example, my daughter just told me she met a new person, and but she's smart. She still dates. She goes out with different people. Like, so at Valentine's she got a couple gifts, blah blah blah. People have to show what they can bring to the table, right? And one of the guys is saying he wants to be exclusive. And she and I both agree. I said, "Are you choosing to be exclusive with him?" And she said, "No, I don't know him enough yet." And I said, "Thank God." Thank you, God. But the point of me saying that is that I don't even know him yet. So she hasn't introduced him to really any of the people in the family. He seems nice enough, but God knows he might flip. He might change and be a different person. Let's see. Hey. Ridiculous. You know what? Does anyone think they know me enough to say that they could date me? No one knows me. So I could be okay. So I met this guy. I talked about this already. I want to use this as a nice example. I met this guy. I meet a lot of guys. I meet a lot of guys. But I met one that's sticking out in my mind that really is heavy for me is this one guy I met. Like I said, he was young. He was my daughter's age, my eldest daughter's age. And he was very blatant about what he wanted from me. And I think either he knows me and someone had told him some foolishness about, yeah, she's about it or whatever else. I don't know what he was expecting because it doesn't seem realistic to me that a guy would like approach a woman and just be like the way he was talking. Just got me thinking like, what the heck? Two guys were like that. The other guy was more my age, but he knew to back off. Yes, I love it. um, I think at some point when you get to know somebody, a group of people, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to focus on this person. I think this person's worth my time. Then okay to tell the other guys, I've met somebody, blah blah blah. I think if everyone has an understanding, that's different. But I think there's so many different expectations and understandings, and I think that's why people are in a position where they either one don't want to get married, or they just want to, like, women are giving it up way too fast. And so guys are like, what the heck? Why do I need to get married for? I can just, you know, be with all these different people. Now, the problem I have with that is this. Getting what a guy wants from a woman when they're young, not everyone, but some, may just to get what they want to get physically. It's okay. What we That's not uncommon. That's pretty normal and common. The problem with that is that what these guys don't know is that they're just hurting themselves. And the women too. Any woman who acts that way, she's just spreading herself thin, thinking that, pick me, pay my rent or pay my, my car note, and we'll get it, and I'll give you peace. There's women out there that have like five men on rotation that pay different bills for them. And sometimes the guys know, and sometimes the guys don't know. Sometimes in that circle of guys that they know, some guys know about the other guys, and some guys aren't about it, but they still play this game, and the guy who's not about it is still in rotation with that, knowing or not. This is the problem with that. The soul ties. Soul ties, like I said, are so significant. Spiritually speaking, like I said, we're more spiritual than we are physical, right? What the Lord led me to understand is that a lot of things that we do with our body, we are causing issues for our own selves. Beyond dating, there's other things you do. Like I'm talking about stuff like when we take care of our own needs, like we actually do physical things to ourselves to get off. Even that opens up the gateway for demonic activity in our lives. I didn't even know that. Watching pornography, same thing. The idea of that is people are trying to satisfy a need. Somehow a gateway in their lives will open up to lust, and they're trying to satisfy that demon. Is what it is. So when you open up your life to pornography, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up in expectations for a potential partner that are unrealistic. There's not many women that are respected in those videos or those movies or those films or whatever else you want to call them. They're not intended to be expected to be respected. These films are meant to be for men. So the fantasy is that you can walk into a restaurant, the waitress is gorgeous. She, walks you to the back and you do it with her. How realistic is that? How many predators do we label that do that kind of stuff? So how could pornography be a good thing? How could it be positive? I understand that it fulfills a need and fulfills a fantasy, but tell you it's strictly just fantasy. There's nothing realistic about it. There's nothing practical about it. And once you see stuff, you cannot unsee it. You cannot. I remember the first time when I was younger, one of my boyfriends brought um, a movie over, and as I reflected on it as I was older, like recently, I've been reflecting on. I thought to myself, how much pressure I felt when I saw this. Like the things that I was seeing that was happening there. First of all, you're not gonna just walk into someone's house as a mailman or a UPS driver and just have and go off on them. Like just go have a thing with them. That's not realistic. It's not gonna happen. Um, and it's sad to me because there's a time in my life where you would kind of know that if you're dating somebody, you're you've actually vetted or been vetted, and you've not, we're dating other people, getting to know other people, and you decide this is the person I want to date and potentially marry, and you bring them home. And if there's a home to bring them home to, and you let your family know that this is the person I'm interested in. And if because your family represents more so your morals and your values, if everyone's pretty much on board, it helps. It doesn't have to make the final decision for you, but it does help. And then you move forward from there. Doesn't mean there's going to be marriage from there. Doesn't mean that at all. It just what it does mean though is that you've actually made a conscious choice based on interacting with people. There's too many people pretending right now to make a decision based on what someone looks like online and what they're saying that they're claiming to be. A good example of that, and I hate to talk about it because it's sad. Harry and Monique, are a prophet and prophetess, and I say that loosely because I don't even know if they really were. They're they're a prophet and prophetess wife of his husband and wife who were critiquing Celestial. Now they were saying that she's not a true prophetess, and I believe that Celestial is. She's very stern, and not a lot of people, not everyone likes her style. But beyond the style, she's she what she says comes to pass. So anyway, the point is that what through the discussions that people have been having about Henry and Monique, it seems as though, and they've been together for a lot of years. A lot of my journey has they've been a part of it. I've came to know them through my journey. I got the Lord introduced me to different prophetesses, what they do, the things they say. So I've been following them for a while. But according to what I've been hearing lately, what he really wanted was his visa. And the thing is, though, she was convinced that he loved her. Yeah, she was convinced that he loved her. They were trying to have a baby, and for whatever reason, she could not have like conceive a child with him. She has five children before him, and he still, came from Africa, came here, and they tried to have a baby according to her. And this is according to her. Remember, there's his set version, her version, and then there's God's version who sees everything. So you see, yeah, thank you. He loves you too. So I cringe to think that she spent all these years with this man and married him, and he got his visa and then just picked up and left. She stuck by him. A lot of things that he said that I cringed about. Like they were a lot of times talking about other people when they probably shouldn't have. When you have an issue with someone, you're supposed to go to that person first before you out them. That's what the Bible says. But they use their platform sometimes to Africa. I'm not too sure where in Africa he's from, but he's from Africa. Either Nigeria, I think, or Ghana. I think it's Ghana. He's from Africa. I might not be a right person, but eight kids, that's a issue. They had five kids together. I mean, she had five kids before him. And supposedly he had a child in Africa. I'm not too sure. I think out of the blue, there's someone claimed that he had a child. Anyway, it's been messy. And I always say that God is not an author of confusion. So as soon as I find that there's confusion, or there's chaos, or there's nonsense, or there's lies, or whatever else, um, I know. I could tell I could tell you a personal story with someone from Africa. There was a gentleman I met when I was taking when I was in nursing and left nursing and took marketing. Beautiful. She was a friend, but she was so gorgeous. She and I were in class together. She was so dark, but anyway, that's aside. The point is that she pulled me aside one day and said to me, "There's a guy that's in our class that wants to meet you," and I'm like, "Ooh, who the heck would that be?" Because as far as I could tell, there was no one in the class that I found attractive. That there was no one that I saw. Anyway, she said, "Okay," so I didn't really give her a response. And then one day she says he really wants to meet you. Like I was talking, 'cause I was talking about being safe, and I actually there's a guy that I was talking to at that time, and so she goes like, he could meet you at the computer lab. So I said, sure, I'll meet him at the computer lab. So I went to the computer lab, and he was there. There's a really tall. He wasn't ugly, but he wasn't my type. But I mean, to me, as far as I'm concerned, looks are just is very very minimal. Like it's not the most important thing. I'm not saying I would be interested in a troll, but I think that there's a lot of guys who are good looking, who are shallow, have nothing going for them. They are just empty shells because they've been handed things because they're so handsome, and they have nothing. They have they're just nothing going on. They're just nothing, and those kind of relationships don't last. So I appreciate someone who's good looking, but I also appreciate someone who dresses well, someone whose hygiene is on point, someone who can hold a conversation, someone who um, is articulate, who's traveled or whatever else, someone who brings something to a conversation, right? Looks are minimal. There's a lot of guys out there in the gyms that are, they lift weights, they don't know much about what they're doing, and they're empty shells. They don't talk about much more than just getting laid, and it's annoying. So anyway, I want to Korea. UN services. There's so many kids with. You're lying. Who are you? I got all those features, but I'm not hygienic. Oh, you're funny. Was advised to do your stuff and get back to camp, but did my best. Wow. So you went to Ghana for UN services, and there was a lot of kids without fathers? I don't know, man. Well, this is how I see it. The Lord foreknew us. He knew. It goes back to my theory about everyone perceives that they've been gypped somehow. Like, we come into this world expecting to have a mommy, daddy, a nice house, and live a life, get married, and repeat the cycle. But what I'm discovering is that in the Bible, there's a lot. Most of the situations of look at Jesus. Jesus was conceived. Um, he was planted in a woman, and so imagine the controversy behind his inception. Like so Joseph was told that your wife is pregnant, but it wasn't from you, and this is going to be a savior. You know, just imagine like there's a lot of people that come into this world with a purpose, and their journey is not it's not smooth sailing at all. So we have this template that society puts up that this is how our lives are supposed to look like, right? And so we're focusing and gearing ourselves towards being this false narrative, and everyone's feeling disappointed and sad and gypped because they're not that thing. No one's life is perfect. No one is going to have this template perfect lifestyle that people profess that exists out there. It doesn't exist. It's fake, it's false. I thought, what's happening? Anyway, so I think if we okay, so this my point was this. I think people need to stop buying into what society is telling us. What we're looking at on the internet or on TV is a false narrative. No one's life is perfect. Some people are born into this world and they're taken out almost right away through abortion, through child trafficking or whatever else. There's a lot of kids who have been through some horrific experiences. This is not what God wanted. Remember, this world's a fallen world, and there's a lot of broken people out there. In relations to what God intended for us, that's not what God intended. There's a lot of corruption in this world, and there's a time when, time of Noah, when things were bad as well, where the Lord decided He was going to take everybody out and start from scratch. It's almost like, the cake got put too much salt in the cake or too much sugar, and you decide to throw the whole thing out and start fresh. You sell what you can, and you start fresh, and that's kind of where God's at right now with us. He's trying to save as many as He can, but people are so enamored with trying to achieve a thing that doesn't exist that it's actually disturbing. People want a life they see online, and AI, like I always say, AI is not helping at all. People are perceiving, anticipating a certain lifestyle, a certain thing, and they want to achieve that thinking it's going to make them feel whole or healthy or healed. When really being healed is, my perspective, see, really, that's a whole different discussion. I'm not even going to discuss that. Um, when I was going to school, I was raised in Canada, and when I was going to school, I'm a type of person I love to learn. I want to know everything. So I want to know about everything. I think that we should be the ones to know our own body. So when I was in nursing, the teachers were telling us that the fetus in the womb, like babies in the womb, or just flesh. They're not human beings yet. And you could go to the doctor and ask, and make an appointment for an abortion, and a full-fledged doctor would do it. And I remember at one point I was in a relationship with someone who I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere because he was abusive. He was a narcissist, of course. And I I didn't expect to get pregnant, and I got pregnant. And I went to him. I told him I'm not having the baby, and I actually aborted that child. And because when I was in nursing, they told me that it's nothing. Um, when I went to the door of the place that was going to happen, a man in a trench coat, he approached me, and I believe that I almost seemed like an angel, because I really wish I would have took him up on the offer that he offered me. He said, "Please don't do it." He goes, "Don't do it. I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you with whatever you're going through." And the reason why I went through it is because my family, my mother was so, I didn't have the support at home. I didn't see myself. I already had a pretty hard upbringing, and I saw my family being so angry with me for what happened. So I just, it's almost like you just, trying to erase it. So I went through with it. It burns me. It took a lot of years to get over it, because once I came to the realization that the Lord foreknew us, that whatever child was coming was God's plan, that actually a child that probably could have had a significant role in society in some way or shape or form. So I do not support abortions. I think a lot of women are grieving the loss of a child they could have had. And those women who use abortions as birth control method are empty shells. They are. Because it's the most horrific experience you could ever go through. It's like going to a farm and collecting milk from cows, or eggs from chickens. There's no love in the situation. There's no, they try their best, but it's very institutional. And then I found out later on that they use the placenta and whatever else they get from that situation for other things. Yeah, they made us think that abortion was no big deal. Like it's like a DNC later. It's a DNC, and they'll just take the flesh out. And through my wilderness time, I got hazed hazed for having abortion, because I think the Lord wanted me to understand and really know how much He detested that whole thing. The Lord loves children, and He loves us overall, but He loves the innocent. It was abortions are a very selfish act. These are living beings. You'd be surprised you know, who the journey that some of these people that have contributed to our society, the journey they came from. So a lot of them could have been aborted. Their circumstances were from nothing. They had nothing. Their parents had nothing. Their parents worked hard. But because the parents had something in them, decided, you know what, I'm going to have this baby. That they end up having, being able to pour back into their parents or pour back into society, which is phenomenal. That's what God. That's the miraculous thing that God does. Abortion is absolutely killing a baby. Absolutely. Hold on a second. Save the women. Show. Are you saying that women ragdoll are lesser women? No, I don't think any woman's lesser or more. I'm not saying someone's less. What I'm saying is that we've been deceived. I'm the type of person that likes to do research, and I know someone who says always tell me, like, what, you're not as expert in this. You're not a doctor. You're not a lawyer. You're not a teacher. And I'm like, you don't have to be a doctor to know about your own body. We should know more about when we're sick than a doctor should. I don't have to be a counselor to know I have a problem in my relationship. I don't have to be a chef to be able to cook a good meal. It's just certain things. Being a professional means that someone's graded you and decided you know enough about it to be an expert enough to maybe possibly teach it or to do it at a higher end or higher scale. That's all it is. I could decide, I can cook a good meal. I could decide I want to be labeled as a chef, and I could go to classes, demonstrate that I can cook, and they could just label me as a chef. Doesn't mean just because I don't have the label doesn't mean I'm not I'm not good at it. So I love to learn about stuff. I wish I knew more about abortions and about what God intended for us years ago. That being said, there are people out there that I remember the idea through, I guess, through pornography. Guys have these fantasies that they want to fulfill. I remember the notion that guys would say stuff like, they want to do it raw because they, for whatever reason, I don't know what it feels like to not be raw or to be raw, but there's something about the notion of being raw that guys seem to get off on. And then when a child is conceived, somehow it's, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But I mean, we have to be, if you're gonna engage in adult things, we have to think adult thoughts. That's it. Like there's gonna be everything we do has a consequence, whether it be, whether we do something wrong or right. There's always gonna be an adverse effect to it. You do something, something's gonna come from it. So in relations to that, and I always say this, I think it's important for us to really look at like what we're doing. Why should we be discouraging young people to not date? I don't think so. Should we be encouraging them to court in relations to going towards marriage? I believe that, but there's so many people out there that are benefiting. The world has set up a situation where people benefit more in their minds from being single than it is to be in a relationship. They don't have to take responsibility for anything. They don't have to answer to anybody else. Um, they can just go out there and feel euphoria for that moment. Mind you, those moments don't last. Those feelings don't last unless there's something more than just the physical act. People could have so much more um fulfilling experiences if they connected more than just on the physical level. I think it's so barbaric just to meet somebody. And this is just my opinion now. This is not God. God didn't say this. But I'm just saying I think it's so barbaric to just meet someone and assume you're going to just have an act with them like we're dogs. And there's nothing more to it than just that. And maybe it's just guys think differently than women, but I refuse to believe that guys don't have feelings. That guys don't, you know, have a need as human beings to connect more than just on a physical level than like we're dogs. I remember when I had my girls, I got my girls, one second. Imagine my next type of got authorized for the next one. When I had my girls, I went to go get some topsoil at the a nursery, like a flower plant nursery, and I went to go get some rocks to finish my Asian garden, and they had kittens, and they were saying we're actually giving away kittens. I thought free kittens, that's great. So I picked one. And I went home and the girls were fighting over this one kitten, so I went back and got the other one. So we had two kittens out of the blue. I went for soil and I went for plants and I came back with two kittens. The point is that it didn't take long before one of the kittens escaped and came back. A cat in the neighborhood was like at the door, meow, making up noise, and we're like, "What the heck?" And I'd open the door, and she would run out, and she'd come back. One time she came back, and my sister and her husband were over, and he says that she's pregnant, and I'm like, "No, she's not." He goes, "Yeah, she is. She's pregnant." So 2 weeks later, she ended up having six kittens, and so we end up having mom and six kittens. The point is that I don't think she knew that cat very well. I don't think she knew that cat very well. But she, like an animal does, they're in heat. Um, this male cat came a calling and she ended up coming home with babies. Now, when she had the kittens, we never seen that cat, the male cat, come back after that. The point is that we're not animals. We're people. And I do believe that a lot of people are connected and God didn't unify them. God didn't put those connections together. They were based on superficial, stupid things to meet very barbaric, animalistic needs based on lust and not based on relationships. No, it was a cat. It was a cat. We have kittens. So like my girls were excited. So like instead of having two cats. Oh, the other one actually was it her? Then another one, like I guess another one met a cat or went out to, and never came back. So we ended up having one. So when we had the kittens, my kids were happy because then everyone could have a kitten of their own. But it ended up being expensive, so we ended up giving the cats away. That's just a whole other thing. But the point is that we're not animals, right? We need to get to know someone on a level that's more than just what someone looks like on Tinder or what someone looks like on Facebook. Because you don't know what kind of monsters are lingering. People, let me tell you something. People can pretend for a long time to be sweet. There are red flags, but we have a tendency to say, "Oh, well, he's so nice. He bought this for me. He got this for me." And clearly, those things can or can't, might or may not be something they're using to get you to drop your guard. People who are narcissists or people who are just predators know what they're doing, and they're hoping that you ignore red flags. And the more often you ignore red flags, the more they say, "Okay, I got one." I remember this guy told me, he said, "If I can get a girl to have a conversation with me, I know I can get her." And this guy claims to be a Christian. So, anyway, that was my rant for the night. What's wrong with you? Really? Well, I appreciate you. Yeah. I met a guy he was so much shorter than me, so aggressive, so not my type. Intellectually, we're on the same level, but it was just at COVID. So, um, he I was going through my wilderness time, so I really had no real connection. At this point, I had no real ties or connection to anybody. So he came into my life and he paid to get my phone fixed and he did this and he did that. And somehow he ended up claiming that he and I were in a relationship. And I guess it's fair for him to say that because we spent so much time together. But we were not in a relationship. We were not. like he like someone who wants to be in a relationship with me anyway would have to prove to me that they're worthy to be in a relationship with me. You know, if they're demonstrating all kinds of foolishness, there's even if something physical happens, that doesn't make you a couple. Lots of guys go out there and do things with women. They're not coupled up with all the women they do stuff with. Anyway, I just find that there's so much confusion in relationships to people dating and getting together, and I just think that I think weddings are beautiful, but a wedding is one day. A wedding doesn't decide whether a relationship's gonna have longevity or not. You know, and I think if people take the time to get to know each other, and if the foundation is biblical, and I mean if the person is patient, kind, understanding, you know, and you have an agreement to make it work no matter what, that there's love actually, you know, in the relationship, that a relationship can last. But there's a lot of relationships just based on, oh, I got her pregnant, or you know, he pays my bills, or we it's cheaper to be together because we're under the same roof. That kind of nonsense just drives me nuts, and that's a lot of the reason why I didn't get married. I was just backwards because I didn't get married, but I did everything a wife would do. Wash clothes, I cooked food, I visited people's families, I played house. Like it was basically playing house. And it's the biggest mistake you could ever make. And if I could tell my girls, sit down with them and tell them, I would tell them not to give you the gifts that are meant for your husband to any Tom, Mike, and Harry. Yeah, I have similar experiences to you, my dear. Let me tell you that. There's a lot of. Why does it sound what I do daily? Why are you such a troublemaker? What? Who are you? What is happening right now? You're just lucky I have a good sense of humor. Anyway, I had to touch on that because the stuff I'm seeing right now, the stuff I'm seeing on the internet, this world is falling apart. This idea of sugar babies and sugar daddies, that a guy is going to get what he wants and the young girl's going to get what he wants, what she wants, based on a transaction, is just makes me want to throw up. Because when I was younger, I used to have a lot of older guys try and talk to me. And I don't care if they would have bought me a car, bought me a house, you know, took flew me to whatever else. I wouldn't go. It doesn't make me better than anybody else. I just knew what I wanted in life. I knew that for a man and woman's experience with each other are very different. A man does not enter does not is not invaded by a man is not invaded by a woman. A woman is invaded by a man. It's very different to receive someone than it is to go into somebody. Right? It's beyond the fact of our genders and how we feel and how we act. Women we have women If women set more boundaries, it would make men be more accountable for what they're doing. We think very differently. We have different experiences. And plus, expectations for men are very different than women as well. Men are expected to be macho. They're so impacted by what their friends think. I guarantee you, men gossip way more than men do. I mean, than women do. And a lot of guys, because of their ego, they will lie and say, "Oh, I did this, I did that," just for the sake of how people perceive them. And that's a thing that women should really be thinking about, because even if you do nothing with a guy could claim that you did all kinds of stuff. You know, you have to be okay with that possibility. Right? You have to be okay with it. You know, like the choice that I made to not go through with a pregnancy was traumatic for me. And if you don't take those moments to heal, you'll continue to make decisions based on that hurt. And that's exactly what happened with me. A lot of us are in a situation where we're not healed, and we make decisions based on those broken places. So because we want to feel better, you know, we want to feel that same feeling we felt when we were to sit on the floor in our house and play with toys. We want that like carefree, nothing bothers me, everything's okay kind of feeling. And we have to understand that we're going to go through life. We're not going to go through life unscathed. We're going to go through issues. We're going to go through trials. We're going to go through hardships and losses and heartbreak. There's lots of liars out there. So you're going to go through situations where people are going to entice you, tell you all kinds of garbage, make you seem a thing, even though the behaviors don't show it. You're going to invest in those people, that person, and they could turn on you and hurt your feelings. I walk through life expecting this, that people are just liars and they're just going to do. I'm not saying everyone, because I'm not a liar. You need a I'm not even going to answer you no more. It's like dragons dead. If you wasn't for inventions, they'd be fed. Yeah. Absolutely. Anyway, I don't even know. I wish that more people would have this discussion. I wish the church would have this discussion, because this happens in the church more than anything. People walk into a church, and I don't know, I can't speak for temples because I'm not a Muslim or of another religion, but I can speak to Christianity. People walk into a church, women. I witnessed this past year. There's a girl that I know. She's a full fledged witch, full fledged like black magic. That's it. But I always say this: the only way for we're in a war. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, so we're wrestling. We're in a war. So for someone, for any kind of witch, their target's going to be someone who's a Christian, a believer. That's straight what it is, black and white, good, evil. What I'm finding is that the enemy is using churches to take down true believers, good people. I watched this woman go into a church, you know, professing she was Christian, get baptized, fully well knowing that she was a witch. And the church let it happen. No vetting process, no real, nothing like that. But the thing that I think that happened with that is that the church was run by warlocks anyway. So it didn't really matter. Let me see. Is this? You guys are ridiculous. Anyway, I am pooped. It's 10 o'clock. I've been on for too long. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this live. It's so long. Oh my God. I didn't expect to be on that long. The point is, this is something to be kind of consider and think about. There's a lot of lust, a lot of people infested by the spirit of lust that have no idea what they're doing with themselves. They're just causing problems for themselves, and they're investing in things for superficial reasons. Their image is so important to them. We're buying into what society says. So there's also people who want to walk on. There's nothing deeper than just the superficial that's going on in people's relationships right now. That's a lot of what's going on. It's a partnership based on some kind of like game, some kind of agreement based on nothing real, nothing wholesome, nothing loving. It's just nothing. And it's to me, I'm just so discouraged by what I'm seeing, and that's just what it is. Who's cursing? Who's this? Where is that? Oh, hold on. There we go. I can do a lot with this. I can erase stuff. I can block people. I'm sorry if I delete it, because at this number, like I said, I'm a believer. I'm a born again believer, but I'm very real with what I'm saying. I don't believe that being holier than thou, especially being hypocritically holier than thou, is gonna draw anyone to God, because God is real. God is he foreknew us. He made us in his image. So in our bare bones state, he's a lot like us, or we're a lot like him. It's when we come here and we become contaminated with the things that we see and we watch and we hear, we start to, change. and become something that's not quite like the Lord was. But generally speaking, the Lord is he's kind, he's patient, he has a sense of humor, he loves us deeply, and the reason that's kind of partly the reason why I love to watch children on YouTube and Instagram, or dogs, animals, because they're the purest form of love that I see. I just sometimes I get teary eyed when I watch dogs and their owners, or babies interacting with each other, or parents and their kids. Thank you. That's thank you for whoever did that. I appreciate that. Oh, achieving is believing. I'm gonna look it up. This is the thing with this, that this platform is going to attract all kinds of people. There's people that are on here that know me, um and there's like, I know people don't want me talking about my experiences, my past experiences, and that's just too bad. I will talk about every aspect of my experience. I don't feel embarrassed about nothing, because a lot of what happened with me happened to me, so it's outing me, but it's outing whoever was the purpose, the reason that it happened. I know my heart. I know I'm a good person. So that's that. I'm gonna look it up. Achieving is believing. I don't know if I'm gonna upload. I'm gonna keep this on the platform because I'm already at 60, 61. I'm already over an hour. But I felt it was good to connect with you guys. I'm actually got some rest last night, and I shared some stuff. What did I share? Um, where is it? The band that I used to run that was cut. I actually fixed it myself because I couldn't find a new one. And I'm sure that whoever is listening and monitoring what I'm doing, they're gonna try and cut it again because they're cutting my clothes. I actually, I'm very meticulous about how I take care of my stuff. And I have this dress I have on. It's just it's a cheap dress. That's just for in the house. I have two of them. I have a green one like this. And someone in this house cut, you can see it, cut the seam, put a hole. You can see right there, put a hole. This dress is new. Someone comes in here and they put holes in my underwear. They steal my stuff. They steal my like my underwear, my bras. They steal my socks. They misplace things, rearrange things, and they just keep doing it. And the Lord keeps consequencing people. I see people getting sick. See people getting hurt, and they just keep doing it. And I don't understand. I understand that maybe people have had losses and they feel that somehow doing something to me will make them feel better, or whatever else, or whatever the situation is. I am not going to no more funerals. I don't care who the funeral is for. I am not going. I have nothing to say. I don't have a part to play. People who I love while they're alive. When they're gone, they're already gone to God. So I'm not going to no more funerals. That's it. And no one has to come to mine if that's what God decides to do with me. And that's that. I really don't care. That's it. People are they're just hurting themselves. The Lord said, "Touch not my anointed, do my prophet no harm." Now, I never walk around saying I'm a prophet or anything, but I do know that I have a gift, and I know God's plan is for me to use that gift for whatever else. He's putting things together for the remnant that are supposed to be collecting souls for the end of the age. So I'm doing my part, and I guess the Lord foreknew us. He knew what we would all be like. He supposedly we pick our parents. We decide if this is my mission, this is the parents I'm going to go into, this is the family I'm going to go into, and then somehow we lose our memory of it, and we embark these situations that break our hearts, that mold us and fashion us in whatever way, and then that's what it is. So that's what I've learned. Why do they damage and steal your stuff? Okay, so why they damage and steal my stuff? Because because sickness is not just what we think. So when you get angry, or you're not forgiving, or you hold resentment, you open up the gateway for demons to come into you. And if they're doing magic in this house, and they are, when they do this kind of stuff, they're intending for me to get upset. And if I get upset, first of all, there's probably cameras in this room. I don't even know. But if I get upset, first of all, for whatever reason they want this, they're getting something out of trying to deem me crazy. So those kind of things, it's like dripping water on the forehead. Sitting in a situation for days and they're just dripping water on the forehead. It will drive you nuts. But I've learned to, because there's these are physical, these are just things, right? The Lord is kind of teaching me to not be so consumed by things. Things come and go. The Lord's replaced everything that I've ever lost in my life, including people. And so I've learned more than most people, I've learned to let go of things quickly. And so, as much as they're trying to hurt me and to frustrate me, it's not easy for them, because I'm a different breed of somebody. I want to leave. The circumstances is that okay. So what I'll tell you is this: my life isn't private. There are people in positions of authority and people in high places that know about me, and my life has been stripped to nothing. I've done a lot of I've worked at the school board while I was there. I had the same kind of torment used to happen there. There was a lot of witches and warlocks working at the school board, and their job was to try and get me out of the school board. And thank you. And so at that point, and now okay, and then also too, I bought my house. My house, and the gentleman I had been with at that time was abusive. And I did share with my mom some concerns she had, and she said, "Who cares? As long as he's a hard worker." Now, that being said, though, he was a hard working when he was working. The question is, how often did he work? And so anyway, the point is that at some point, when I had to lock him out of the house because my girls were getting old enough to see that I was being abused, and I didn't want them to be traumatized by it. And I didn't realize that narcissism meant that when you get away, they don't forget and they spend their life trying to get revenge. So I had partnerships with a lot of guys, not of guys, three gentlemen who decided to take it upon themselves to try and destroy me. So the support payments, which were very little, I didn't ask for a lot, stopped coming in because I wasn't working in the summer. I worked for the school board. And I didn't know how it stopped. I didn't know what happened, but somehow the courts end up stopping the payment. So I have this mortgage by myself, and I wasn't prepared for these payments to start coming in. So my mortgage payments. The point is that I lost the house, and my kids were separated from me, and somehow my family was involved, and I didn't know up to this day. I don't know how the whole thing went down, but I do know that my family was involved somehow. Um, um, what the Lord led me to understand is that for the remnant, we are His chosen, and He's orchestrated it that we have something coming to us that would help us to fulfill our purpose. And when I do have a chance to leave, I will leave. But until the Lord has does what He has to do, I am here. Okay. They are very aware of who I am. They are very aware. I'm talking about my family and the people in positions that are supposed to be protecting us, and people that are supposed to be governing over us know who I am. And I'm not just talking about in Toronto, in Canada. I'm talking about in different places. The people in positions of influence, in positions of that oversee us, are fully aware of the people who have been chosen by God to fulfill a purpose. So in a nutshell, that's why I'm still here. If it was easy for if I was able to just get up and walk away, I would do it. But in the meantime, what they're trying to do is to deem me crazy. Well, I'm not trying to punish myself. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not. I'm much more resilient and immune to disrespect, to abuse, and even when I did have my house, it's abuse and neglect seemed to follow me wherever I went. So in these so-called relationships I was in, it was that way. When my parents were raising me, it was that way. I didn't have good models. I didn't have many models of what a true healthy relationship was. And I think the Lord is trying to show me, first of all, love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself, your cup is empty. You can't pour into anybody else. So the Lord is really teaching me to enjoy my own time by myself. He's teaching me to appreciate what little He may think He's given me. That wasn't, I don't know I'm not too sure what you're saying there. Take your time too. Write it slow. I'll read it. I'm not punishing myself. Um, the situation with me is this. Let's just say I decided I'm gonna find a way. I'm just gonna pack up a bag and walk away and go to a shelter or something like that. The people at the shelter would be connected would be approached by someone in a position of authority, and they'd be doing the same thing because it's happened to me. I went to a but before I knew who I was, I went to a battered women's shelter with my children, and they were taking my things. I had really nice towels and stuff for myself. I had packed a bag, and they swapped out those towels for garbage towels. They were putting stuff in my apple cider vinegar, like they put borax in my apple cider vinegar. They're all connected. I can't run from this. This is not something I can just run away from. It's not like I can just go somewhere else until they people in positions of authority are either dealt with by God or whatever is supposed to be owed to me is released to me. I can't do anything much. Um, well, if you call cutting holes in your stuff, putting stuff in your food, stealing your things, rearranging your stuff, yelling at you, if you call that abusive, then yeah. All the times whoever's been following me since like 2011, you know that I've been through some stuff at the hands of people that are supposed to be family, sisters, brother, mother, father, cousins. So as you see me sitting here and doing this, I do not look like what I've been through for sure. And they've managed to turn people away that are supposed to be on my in my court, like my daughters, based on God knows what. So as I say that, the reason why I'm really emphasizing on vetting the people that you decide you're going to date, especially if you're pursuing marriage, is that a lot of people are pretending, but it's the church, right? Um, what is the church? What do you mean? My family aren't Christians. They pretend to be. This is how I know the church that we go to. Most people, and it's just, I'm speaking for Christianity right now. Most of these churches, especially if they're like funded churches by the government, funded churches where they don't people can get tax receipts when they give their offerings there. Usually they can't preach the truth. They're not allowed. Their sermons are pre visited, and they can't speak about certain truths. And that's why a lot of people don't know about spiritual warfare and about um, principalities and powers and rulers of the darkness. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about astral projection and all that kind of stuff. They practice it in the church. There's a lot of witchcraft in the church, but they do not talk about it. They don't, because there's people in the church that are benefiting off of people not knowing what's true. So anyway, I went off on a tangent, man. This is not a lot I may keep because I'm ranting with you guys, but I appreciate you guys coming on and interacting. It's been a long journey for me, and I can't change what people decide to do, but I can tell you what I've been through, and what the Lord showed me is not okay. Relationships can be so fulfilling if people connected based on more than just what they look like and what they think people see. Relationships are more than just the physical. People. There's a video. I'm not gonna say it. Forget it. There's a couple videos I saw I could use as an example, but I'm not gonna do it. There was a gentleman who approached me was talking about the size of his private parts, and I'm like, why do I need to know the size of your private parts? You don't even know. I could be some kind of monster. I could be some chick that you meet, and I agree to meet you somewhere, and I pull out some kind of weapon, and you're like hanging from a seat. Like, no one is thinking. People are thinking. I don't know what people are thinking. All I know is there's a lot of crazy people out there that are looking to benefit off of bleeding and hurting people, and they get off on that. That's all I really know. Beautiful. I appreciate the heart. You're something else. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. It's been a long live, and so which means this might not be a live that I keep, because I like to review my lives, but you know, if I'm not gonna sit down for an hour and a half and go back through this again. There's no way. Anyway, guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate it kind of things the support that you send. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. That's so cute. That's cute. Let me see. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I just finished talking about this. What's wrong with you? Too much. I'm hiding that. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Remember, you're made marvelously. You're a special generation of people created for this time. You are not a mistake. The Lord loves you. I ain't going to say I love you now because there's too much foolishness happening on here. Miss you, girl. Yeah, until next time. Bless you. You didn't get blocked, so you're good. All right. Take care till next time, guys. Good night. Have a good night.